Okay. Here we go.
We're up and running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the brain going first thing this morning.
So I was also thinking over the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and I noticed when I brought up my father, that kind of piqued your interest a little bit. It seemed like,
Your biological father. You don't
yeah,
talk too much about him.
I know, but I said something about him, and you would seem like you were interested. And really,
I don't push you because you
there's,
said you. What you say is I don't want to talk too much about him.
I said that.
You said it before.
Okay, but
That's why I just when you
no,
and then when you say something about it,
no, I said that if I said that, it was because there's nothing to say about him. I've met you and seen you more times than I've seen my biological father. So there's nothing to say there, you
yeah.
know.
So when you actually bring him up later on, ask me why I pulled my glasses out. I don't even know because I'm like I'm not reading nothing. When you bring him up later on, it just it makes me do that. He want to talk about his dad today, kind of
It
thing.
really,
But that's it.
yeah, I really
No,
can't
no,
speak
nothing,
on him. I don't
nothing
know him.
extra.
I can't tell you his middle name. I can't tell you. I don't even know his siblings. You know, I met him once when I
Mm-hmm.
was like 5 or 6 years old. I met one of his siblings, and that was my aunt Nancy. And he got like 3 or 4 siblings. I can't tell you his interests, what kind of car he drive. Well, I can tell you the car he drove last time I saw him. But other than that, it really ain't nothing to say. I think the government is trying to make a case there where there isn't. Because it's a proximity thing where the blame game is going around. And they looking for someone to blame. And so my father, because they can't blame me. They can't blame me for getting my mind read and being on this medicine. They can't blame me for that because a doctor I've known all my life said to me, Terrell, you lost your job, you crashed your car, you and your ex-girlfriend broke up. Why don't you try this medicine for depression? He didn't say, hey, Terrell, this is a mind reading medicine. You know, you're going to be on it for 18 years. It's going to cause kidney issues, liver issues. And you can't blame that on my step parents. My stepfather, whose name is Charles. You can't blame it on my mother, whose name is April. You can't blame it on my real father, whose name is Leo. You can't blame that on them because at the end of the day, the government gave Dr. Tingle this medicine. So to blame a parent, how can you do that? That's just a thing that was decided when they decided they was going to roofie me. Is it not? Because if they went to April, Charles, and Leo and told them that they was giving me mind reading medicine, and April, Charles, and Leo don't tell me that, is that my fault? It's not.
Not if you don't know it. I know.
Okay, so exactly. So along with that, if the government come to April, Charles, and Leo and say we want to do this with your son, and I'm a 21-year-old adult with no mental disabilities, is that legal? Why not consult with the actual adult that you are involved in this situation? Why go behind his back? But I tell you what someone told me from my hometown. They was like, when they can't go to you, they go around. So the thing with that is the government don't need to blame nobody but themselves because what they did was illegal. Is that not true? Is there any situation where a government can go to someone with no power of attorney and go to a family member and have them act on their orders? If my, let's make this example. If I have a bank account that's in my name solely, can Charles go in there and draw money out of it?
Wait a minute. I want to make sure I write this. All right. So say it to me again.
So
If
if I
you
have a bank
bank
account
account.
that's solely in my name,
Mm-hmm.
can Charles walk in that bank account and draw money out of it?
He shouldn't be able to.
And what him shouldn't being able to, wouldn't that make that illegal? Ain't that what you're saying? It's a matter of semantics. When you say he shouldn't be able to, that means it's illegal, right? It's not that hard.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm giving bank rules is what I'm thinking about. No, he shouldn't be able to go into your account. It's your account unless you put him on the
So that
account
would
or
make it
give
illegal.
him.
That would make it illegal.
Yeah, if he stole your money,
Because that's what it would be.
it would be stealing your money. If he took your
Yeah,
money out of
exactly.
the
And that would
account
make
without
it
your
illegal.
permission, then that's stealing your money.
But but wouldn't the bank have some accountability? I can understand if you took my ATM card and went to the ATM machine, but to walk up to a teller and show his identification, being Charles, his last name, and
Without being on your account,
without being on my account and draw money,
I would think that the bank would be responsible for that.
yeah. So why are they not responsible for this medicine? They want to finger point and blame family and blame people that they extorted. And as far as blaming family, I don't blame family for this. You know, Charles, my mom, my friends, they was late to this party. I can't speak for Leo because I don't know, but they was late to this party. Pillars of the community, rappers, they was singing about me for 3 years. You think my mom or my stepfather, people that raised me, knew rappers was writing songs about me since I was 18 years old? I seriously doubt it. Got too much shock value to keep that secret. Especially when they not rappers themselves and not from Atlanta or not from New York. You know, I'm getting a little tired of this whole blame game, and politicians need to take accountability. You know, my father said he knew a politician the last time I seen him.
Your
My real father.
your
My
real
biological-
father.
Yeah, he said he knew a politician. But you know how I feel about that? I feel like my father, if he involved with my biological father involved with these people, he might want to, and he doing anything, ever broke the law, he might want to be on the straight and narrow for the rest of his life. Do you know why that is?
Why?
Because of politicians the way they are. This is a shit show. It's a mess. And it wouldn't surprise me if politicians double back when I die from this medicine and try to arrest him to distance themselves from their own indiscretion and crimes,
If he's involved.
if he's involved. But is he?
You don't communicate with him, so how would you know?
So, you know, that's kind of that story, you know. It's a lot of corruption going on, and that's what people exercise all the time. Well, I ain't say all the time. They exercise that it's corrupt. It's very corrupted, you know. But you know who you can, and as far as RICO charges and conspiracy, you know who you can hit with that more than you can hit my father with, if he's involved, and likely he is, to be blunt. But me saying that is not an admission of evidence towards him or guilt from me or him, because where's the evidence pointing to that he's involved? Because I don't know him. He hasn't came to see me since I've been on this medicine in Virginia. So as far as evidence pointing that this is his fault, there isn't any. You know, and guilty people get away with crimes all the time, even in court. OJ got away with it. You know, who else? Plenty plenty of high profile people got away with crimes, and just regular people get away with crimes. Because you look how long John Gotti got away. They call him the Teflon Don, and he was guilty as sin. He didn't get away with it in the end, but he got away with probably a few times. So to say that someone can't get away, and they actually probably had evidence of him, he just intimidated witnesses. They ain't even got evidence point to my father had something to do with this. And this is not being braggadocious in support of my father, because there's no support there. I don't support my father. I don't support anyone that did this to me. And no one should. And the problem also with that is, if there's accusations made against me and my family, and this is some kind of jail diversion, for one, it's overkill, it's lies, and two, my health, name, and reputation should never be at the cost of my freedom. If I broke the law, put me in jail. Don't put me on a mind reading medicine, read my mind for 18 years, cause me to have liver damage, kidney damage, muscle, bone deterioration, body tissue deterioration. For what? Because I broke the law? And the reality is I didn't break the law. You framed me and been planning to do it since I was 18 years old. And this is not an opinion, this is a fact. You got people admitting to it, people that played a role in it admitting to it. Jay-Z said, I'm guilty of it too, but not like them. You know who he's talking about? He's guilty of it too, but not like them. He's talking about my town in Langston County. The mayor of my town, Sean E. Donahue's the biggest drug dealer in my town. I know of 2 incidents involving him being associated with drugs. One of them I didn't realize till after I was already on the medicine. And people said that to come to my defense. So, yeah, like, I'm a little fed up with the government and their disrespect. I'm a little fed up with the abuse. I'm a little fed up with the lies. And they do it all from a distance, but like, I said this to Mary, I said this to my psychiatric doctor that administer this medicine, or sign off, she don't administer, she signed off on it for me to pick the prescription up. She signed off on the prescription. I said to her, and she's basically overseeing this medicine. And I said to her, I was like, is there anything you want to say to me? And she was like, well, no, why you say that? And I said, because when I'm in a community, people walk around with earpieces, got a lot to say. But then when I'm talking to you who oversee this medicine, you got nothing to say. Why is that? Why is that?
What she said?
Nothing. But then I can leave, get off the phone with her, leave her office, leave this office, and it's back to the game of the condescension, the disrespect, the shaming, the blaming. But when you confront it head on, nobody got nothing to say. And I don't want to say that's what keeps me. I don't want nobody to say, well, that's what's keeping you alive. That ain't what's keeping me alive. I got 8 witnesses or more that can confirm you was communicating indirectly like this before the medicine. So that's more of a strategy than out of necessity. I can name them. My ex-girlfriend is one. Some of my cousins are some. Some of the people I went to school with are some. That's one of the first things that happened was people communicated indirectly. My friends communicated indirectly that my girlfriend said I was shooting blanks, and that's why she never got pregnant. My girlfriend never said that to me. My friends never said that to me. And someone I knew, it was 2 of my friends, males, myself, and a girl. We was over a girl house, which is a family friend. And 2 of my friends, who I'm also related to, said indirectly, that my ex said I was shooting blanks, and that's why she never got pregnant. Because there was this thing going on that I had a girl pregnant, and that's what started all this. That's what they wanted me to believe. Well, the friend of the family in the girl house we was over, she coming in, she heard that, and she said, "You better leave him alone." Talking about my two friends before he whoop your ass, because it was very disrespectful. They clearly was talking about me. That's how I took it. That's who. That's how the lady who house we was over took it, and they communicated just like we're doing now. So that's a strategy. It's not out of necessity. It's not keeping me alive to do the things everyone's doing. That's not keeping me alive. They doing that because they want to. So and it seems like people with earpieces, one minute they mad at me, the next minute they enabling in the people that are doing all this, and at the same time they hate that this is happening in their community. And they blame me to keep it happening in their community.
Mm-hmm.
What do they want at the end of the day? Because they seem confused. Or they just try to have their cake and eat it too. But I spoke enough on that. What time is it? What I really came here to talk about today was George Bush, because um, this is something that he did. And one of the first things that happened when I was put on this medicine, I'm looking at BET, which is owned by Viacom, and a show is aired called Bush Screws America. Another show is aired called World War Me. Another show is aired called 100% Proof. Another show is aired called The Boot. Another show is aired called The Chopper. And to explain that, it was on BET. The owner of BET, Deborah, what's her name? Deborah Lee at the time. Her name was Deborah Lee. That happened on her watch. And she harbored a lot of guilt, because at one of the BET Awards, she got on stage while I was on this medicine. It was in front of the podium talking, and she could barely talk. She was all frantic, anxious, and I was watching it, and Jamie Foxx stood up and defended her and kind of like try to belittle me, because I was watching it. They in my head, they got earpieces. I'm thinking, complaining, blaming them, which is the truth, and they call themselves defending her honor. But
So what Jamie Foxx said about you?
I don't remember the details of what he said. It was more like, kind of like just to paraphrase, like, F him, don't worry about him. That's kind of what he was saying to Deborah Lee. And of course, it's indirect, and no one's ever said my name. But when I was at Central State, I had a guy there that says, we playing spades, and he says to me, he said, "Hey, I'm reading your mind."
Why are you playing spades?
It was four of us playing spades.
Right.
One of them was a staff member.
Mm-hmm.
It was three residents and a staff member.
Playing spades.
His last name was Taylor. I don't remember the staff member first name. His last name was Taylor. He had his eyes. What is it called when your eyes are both going there like that? Like, he had issues with his eyes. I don't remember his first name, but I know his last name was Taylor. But it was him and two other guys. Him and three other guys. Him and two other guys. One of them was a white guy. He looked at me and said, "Hey, I'm reading your mind." If they ain't breaking protocol, what is? Even though he was jokingly telling the truth. So when they say that, again, that corroborate my story of saying this, the way y'all communicate, is not out of necessity. You choose to. And yeah, it's not out of necessity. So you can tell me anytime you want while I'm on this medicine. Anyone can. But then you use the excuse that he can't handle it. He can't handle the truth. The truth in reality that is being perpetrated to keep this going is a lie. Bush screws America. What is that about? How did Bush screw America?
What did the show say?
They didn't say. They used Houston, and you're a little older than me, so you're familiar with the Bumbies and the Texas music. You know what chopped and screwed is?
Uh-uh.
It's when they slow music down, and they got like a. When they speed it up, it kind of sounds chipmunky. When they slow it down, it sound like it's.
Satanic.
No, it sounds like it's boxy and robotic. And yeah, they use chopped and screwed Texas music along with the title of the show called Bush Screws America. And they use Texas chopped and screwed to talk about Bush. And then they use 100% proof. And that's Eminem friend Proof died after I went to the hospital. I saw the first three. Went to the hospital, which was Bush Screws America, 100% Proof, and World War Me. I went to they tricked me into going into the mental hospital. While I'm at the hospital, I have two seizures while I tell them that I thought the mob was after me and George Bush was trying to save me. Not realizing that they was one and the same. You know, and they made me had two seizures each time. The first time they made me have a seizure was at Virginia Beach Psychiatric. They got evidence proving of everything I said that about George Bush. It was probably about 12 people, 12 to 15 people in the room. They had tape recorder, and the magistrate asked me why was I there. And when I was going to tell them, I started having a seizure. What government agency did that in America? CIA? Because the reason why I said CIA, because they the only ones not answering their phone when I call. Matter of fact, I can't even get to their actual operator. I call it, and all of a sudden the phone hangs up and just start beeping. Which who knew technology could do that? I can show you right now. I can put my phone on speakerphone. I do it. I just put my phone on speakerphone and show you what happened when I call the CIA. Let's see if I put it on speakerphone first. That's what happened when I called the CIA. It just hangs up, don't ring, nothing. And it's the right number because I had called the FBI and I already talked to the FBI. They answer the phone, in which they hang up on me too. They actual person hang up on me when I call them and start telling them what really went down. But she said one time I called, she said, "Well," I called and I'm like, "Do you know why the CIA number's not working?" And she was like, "Maybe you're dialing the wrong number. I can transfer you over there." She transferred me to the extension, which is this number, and the same thing just happened. I called back and asked the FBI, like, what was the number that you transferred me to? And she said the same number I was dialing, which is 703-374-7400. And the FBI number is 757-455-0100. So,
Do they have another number on Google?
who?
The CIA.
Same thing.
It's the same number.
No, the same thing happened. Like, it's weird what's going on with them. And this is the CIA. How does someone get in touch with them? When they're having issues, and they got different numbers, but I didn't call them all.
They do the same thing for all the numbers?
Okay, let's try this one. This is a different one I saved, and this is like the FOIA line. This is another one of their numbers. And this one rings, but you get an answer inside.
CIA FOIA mailbox is not available.
It's full.
Record your message after the tone. When you've finished, you can hang up or press 1.
And now you can leave a message, in which I've left a message before, but then it usually says when I call that the mailbox is full. They don't return my call. So I done heard, CIA.
What number was you dialing?
What just now?
Mm-hmm.
703 613 1287. That's the FOIA. And I done heard Homeland Security was responsible for this because allegedly one of my friends come in my house while I'm on this medicine, and he wanted me telling that the pillars of community actually got ties to Homeland Security in my town, and all them are drug dealers or ex-drug dealers, you know. And then you wonder why people driving around Williamsburg with lit mule, LIT space MULE on their license plates, or Coca-Cola, meaning it's short for, how that used to have cocaine in it, so not surprising that people, or a taxi driver that tells me when he take me to an emergency appointment saying it ain't nothing but about money, or
What do you mean it ain't nothing about money?
That's why they got me on this medicine. And and someone said that to me.
He said they got you on this medicine because it ain't nothing about money.
He said it indirectly.
Oh, he just said the part it ain't nothing but about money.
Yeah, he didn't specify what he was talking about, but common sense was referring to that he was talking about money. And that's another thing, it can't be me being paranoid and crazy with the indirect communication when people say things that benefit me, but then when it's indirect communication that blames me, then that's creditable. We don't get to pick and choose what's credible and what's not credible when it comes to the indirect communication. That's not right. It's a corruption. They pick and choose what they want to entertain. And just, I told you like a couple weeks ago how when I was at Terrell, and the dude come out there with his girlfriend or wife and said the same exact thing. They ain't nothing but about money.
What part of the indirect did they use against you?
What you mean?
You said they used indirect information against you when it benefits them, but
to say things like it's a jail diversion, or that I signed a contract agreement, or that it's about my ex-girlfriend. Well, if you said it's a domestic issue over my ex-girlfriend, if you communicate that indirectly, like bringing her and her boyfriend to my job when I was first put on this medicine, that's what they did. And not just bring her boyfriend that took her away from me to my job, they put him in the same department as me, in the same schedule as me. That's what they did. Do you see that being problematic?
You all were working together.
No, we wasn't. We wasn't working together until I was on this medicine.
Oh, she got a job.
Her and her boyfriend came and got a job with me because she quit college, and this was communicated indirectly, that she quit college to get me out of trouble. She quit college to come home and get me out of trouble that I was allegedly in for a domestic issue against her.
She quit college.
Only child. She the only child to go to college. She's the only child and the only member of her family to go to college, and she quit college to come home and try to save a guy who the government has said tried to hurt her. What is that story missing? Because would you let and I don't mean to drag you into this, I mean no disrespect at all by this, but if someone domestically tried to hurt your daughter, would you let her quit college to come home and try to get this person out of trouble that just tried to hurt your daughter? You wouldn't. No parent would. I answer it for you. No parent would. So what's the variables there to where a parent would if that was the case? Is it the fact that people are threatening to kill my mom, threatening to kill me, and holding me hostage by means of medicine? Is those the three variables to make a small community come together and ignore all the whatever the domestic thing was that wasn't premeditated and intentional? I'm pretty sure it was. And the fact that my ex-girlfriend family member was a police officer. Why had Chris Sampson and JB, two guys we went to school with, who wasn't doing anything to prevent it? And this was communicated indirectly. Drake said in a song, Bodyguard, because a country musician came out with a video showing how I was looking for this country musician in video, and they won't bring it back to let me know, because I was gonna try to discredit it and analyze it and break it down to say, hey, what y'all music industry, country versus rap, and this is why I say this. It was a country music star who made a video of a domestic issue with his friend and his girlfriend, and he stopped the domestic incident from happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they was indirectly trying to say Chris Sampson and JB was supposed to do. And before I ever had that thought about Chris Sampson and JB being bodyguards, Drake come out with a song saying bodyguards don't look like Kevin Costner, you tweaking. They say the same stuff so much till they start to believe it. And Drake took the offensive with that because it's supposed to be a back and forth. But I'm like, who's fighting who? Because country stars, rap stars who on the same record label are making songs that's contradicting one another. And when I was looking at the country music awards, I brought that up to them when I just said to you that they're contradicting each other. I'm like, how do y'all feel about Drake? You know, and bodyguards don't look like Kevin Costner, you tweaking. They wouldn't speak on it. You know, they ignore stuff like that. And that's aggravating to me because I make a lot of good questions. I ask a lot of good questions that people ignore. That's very relevant. You know. But yeah, so back to Chris Sampson and JB. Why not go to her family member, first cousin removed, and tell him, who's an actual police officer, a fellow cop as yourself, because there was an actual cop along with Chris Sampson and JB. Different departments, but small town, Lancaster and Kilmarnock, 5 minutes away from each other. They can easily communicate it back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so don't blame. They can't blame it on it was compartmentalized by department, because I'm pretty sure Chris Sampson or JB don't live in a town that I think they both live in Kilmarnock, where the police department where her family member worked at. I'm not sure, but and I stay on the borderline of Kilmarnock and Lancaster. I go one way, 2 minutes I'm in Lancaster. Go the other way, 2 minutes. I done already passed the Kilmarnock Police Department. So it's no excuse for not involving my ex-girlfriend, first cousin removed, family member who's a police officer, and then involving two guys I went to high school with that's supposed to be bodyguards. You know why they didn't go to her family member, Melvin? Because they wanted it to happen. And if they would have told him that they was endangering my life and endangering his family member life, he would have nipped it in the bud real fast. But they waited till they had what they want to go into the next stage to tell him about it, because that's how they do black people. And I don't mean to bring race in it, but that's how they do it. You know, they make it so we got to do a lesser evil. They don't try to stop it just from happening. Period. Protect and serve like they supposed to do. They want you with your hands dirty. They want you to have your own people turn and work against you, thinking that the alternative to not to working, thinking that the alternative to work that in working against you is not worse than the issue itself. So basically, to break it down, basically, my community, everybody think, well, if and let's look at it from 2006, not through the lens of 18 years, because now they're probably like, damn, we sure made a mistake. 2006, they probably were thinking, well, if we don't work with these people, Terrell gonna go to jail. But that's anything but true. That's probably what they was pushed to believe, thinking they doing a lesser evil. You know, my ex-girlfriend, if I don't quit college and my and come home and help Terrell gonna go to jail, probably for a very long time. But 18 years of mind reading, ain't that a long time? Very long. And worse, if you ask me, for a crime I didn't even commit. The government framed me, and nobody got hurt. I don't have an STD. I never killed nobody in my life. Why am I getting my mind read for 18 years? They can say anything they want. And another girl I knew from back home, a lot of people can vouch for me. It's overkill. Anything they can say I did is overkill. And it's not only overkill, there's no situation where someone should be sacrificing their health because they broke the law. Because that's what I'm doing.
Did she ever go to court with you?
They're not acknowledging that happened. Because they trying to cover it up. My mom said that. And she didn't say that specifically, but my mom is saying they trying to cover up what they did to you. My brother said that the police was involved and they trying to cover it up. You know, my childhood babysitter said they are lying about what they're saying is going on with you. And before people think I messed up by stating the obvious and the elephant in the room, that really ain't the obvious, it's just been perpetrated that way, I didn't try to kill anyone. I didn't try to harm. It wasn't no domestic thing. The reality is, the TV and the phone started talking to me and said, be at such and such place at such and such time or else. That's what happened. And Chris Sampson, JB, and a police officer that drive the red Camaro knew of what was going on before I did. So how did that make me, does that show any premeditated thing? You know, it's so many ways where this could have went to court and no one got hurt and it would have just been dismissed. That's what should have happened because the government created this mess, not me. How did I go to sleep, wake up, and then end up in this situation? You know, no one got hurt. She didn't get hurt. And then not just that, to show you even more, they intercepted the radio that morning and told me it's a good thing I turned around and went home because if not, they was gonna kill me. You know what kind of medicine I'm on. Tell me that I'm lying to you. Because ain't no thought gonna say that that's a lie. So if they wanna put me in a courtroom and say, Terrell tried to hurt someone, I'm gonna say, how was I trying to hurt someone? I thought I was the one in danger, at least by your radio, intercepting the radio. And they can't try to dismiss that and say, well, it was a joke or it was an advertisement. Who advertise? Who advertises stuff on radio? What company is advertising on the radio? If you don't turn around and go home, it's gonna kill you. What company was that? And then they come out with commercials, the V8 juice, saying I could have had a V8.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that means?
What?
My whole family could have got killed behind this because Young Jeezy says on his 2005 album, that shit ain't gonna get you on, it's gonna get you hurt. Meaning the music Terrell is making ain't gonna get him a record deal, it's gonna get him hurt. That's what sparked all this off. That's why I left the house that morning, because I thought people were threatening to kill me and my family. And it doesn't help that I thought people threatened to kill me and my family through music, and they told me that through music, through TV and phone, which made me draw that conclusion. And then before I'm on the medicine, and I'm in Newport News leaving, and I'm in Norfolk headed back to Newport News to intercept the radio and say it's a good thing you turned around and go and went home because we was gonna kill you. And then I go back to my old job, which is seasonal, and you gotta do orientation every year. And what you call it, orientation documents explain how they had just tried to kill me, and I thought my job was behind it where I was working at, which was Tizen. And then the GM of Tizen walk up to me and say, if you fuck this up, we gonna kill you. And he tried to play it off like it was indirectly, like he was talking about me doing my work at the hotel, which is in my job description. But when he came to me and said, you fuck this up, I'm gonna kill you, he wasn't talking about nothing about what this medicine was associated with. Have you ever had a boss say that to you about your job performance?
Yeah.
And he was a British dude named Gordon. And I remember talking to Murray, and I kind of said his name was Gordon Ramsay, and then I listened to the video. I was like, oh Lord, Gordon Ramsay, the chef. You know. So I went back and corrected that with Murray, because y'all got these conversations. I don't want him to be discredited. I don't know his last name. I don't know if Gordon's his first or last name. All I know is Gordon something, or something Gordon. So yes, you know, this is being recorded. So I don't want me to be discredited to say, well, he's suffering from mental health issues and he's not a credible person. Because they'll try to, these are people like a squirmy fish. They'll do anything to get out of trouble and blame me, and then blame me for my circumstances, or try to blame my family for my circumstances, when no one in my family house gave me this medicine. And no one in my house told the doctor to give me this medicine. No one in my house, the government didn't come to my house and pick all us up and take us to the Dr. Tingle office. No, Dr. Tingle called my house saying Terrell saw too much. You know, so how they go from Terrell seeing too much to Terrell having a domestic charge against him. You know, so, and then I'm seeing where they talking about where they buried all the evidence proving you're innocent, and clearly they are doing that because the music where Young Jeezy said, trap or die, I told you to trap, you ain't trap, so get your pistol out, get a pistol and kill yourself. He said, that's been edited. You know, Snoop Dogg saying, you knew the job was hard when you signed up for it. I didn't sign up for no job to do whatever this is. You know, Pitbull said, young nigga getting rich off of easing violence. Well, that's what I originally thought he said. Then I flash back to that video, it's saying young nigga getting rich off of keys and violence. When the original version said ease and violence, it got switched to keys and violence. You know, this music is all, the music industry is editing all this stuff, and I don't know what the big picture is of what they're trying to piece together or puzzle together, but I know whatever they puzzling together, it's gonna blame me, and I'ma down this medicine, and then all is gonna be well, because they don't plan on taking me off of it. They do not plan on taking me off this medicine. And Dr. Morales at CBH said that to me. And it's a doctor, just like Sarah Faber is doing now, that's overseeing this medicine. After they caused my kidney to swell by changing my medicine to something worse, to a worse version of it, just like kind of what I'm taking now, Dr. Morales said to me, he was like, Terrell, if they was gonna take you off the medicine, they would have did it already. That's what he said to me. And we got off the phone. The next time I talked to him, he's retiring. Out of nowhere. He never spoke anything of getting ready to retire. But not until he told me, because I guess he broke protocol by telling me that. And when he say that, if it was really terrorists that had me on this medicine, it goes without saying. But him saying that, stating the obvious, that he don't believe that it's terrorist medicine. And I don't even know if that's really a thing. Because back to Bush, in 2006, I'm at Eastern State, and a guy there tell me that Bush and Bin Laden is trying to kill me. That's what he said to me. Bush and Bin Laden are trying to kill me. Is that the Bush screws America? You know, and another thing BET came out with, something called American Gangster, which had Nicky Barnes, Frank Lucas, all these big time drug dealers and criminals on it. They had different episodes for each episode dedicated to each drug dealer. I think it's like a 30-minute episode. One of them was George Bush, and they spelled George. It was George W. Bush, and he made an episode of American Gangster. And those are the same people that told me Bush screws America and everything else. The chop up, Bush screws America. You know, and they spelled the W, D-U-B-Y-A, W, because he used to call himself George W. Bush, and used to do this when he left office. They took all the W's off the keyboards. You know, and so, but it's funny to me, they are NBC affiliate, and NBC, George Bush's daughter worked for them. You know, they sold Magnum PI to NBC, and NBC spend their days, I look at the Today Show, partly because Jenna on there, and they are being passive aggressive towards me, you know, and I'm trying to figure out and blame passive aggressive and blaming me. But the funny thing about that is, your co-host dad was president when this happened to me, and a fellow network who you do business with, NBC I'm talking of, do business with, is talking bad about your co-host dad. But at the same time, you support them. And basically, I think that's the chop up. The chop up, I interpreted chop up, which was aired on Viacom, which is CBS, Viacom, BET, VH1, MTV, which aired on but it aired on BET. They all under the same umbrella. And the reason why Nick said all that, because I was just talking about NBC, which is under a different umbrella, but they affiliates of each other and buy shows and give each other shows. But anyway, yeah, they, and what was I saying? Yeah, you made me forget it.
I make you. Okay, we're gonna stop right there.
But, yeah, like,
All right, let me.
yeah, so this whole